I've been watching a lot of movies in the last days. Also some series, but mostly movies. I've tried to write down all of them, but I'm sure there's some missing. Not all of them were good. That's my opinion, of course, but maybe you can find something interesting to watch, or maybe something awful to avoid, who knows. Most of them were dramas, and I'm not going to go in depth on the plot of all of them because some are not truly necessary, okay? Let's go. May December. I made a commitment to go through the whole movie because whatever. The characters are fucking annoying, like every character portrayed by Julianne Moore. She's always this type of constipated snob woman that is annoying. Let's say that is her branding, okay? There's big movies on the movie, including Natalie Portman, who is also a producer. We will talk about that later. I started watching it, and from the very beginning I started feeling a strong flavor of those 90s TV films. Not the fantasy good ones, no, the regular ones. But then I remembered that the Netflix logo was at the beginning, and is there any good movie made by Netflix for real? Let me know in the comments, maybe I'm missing something. But okay, stop being a hater, Mina, keep watching the movie. And that's what I did, I kept watching the movie, and maybe the 90s TV film vibe was intentional because the music, I don't know, it seemed composed by David the Face in the flesh. So that convinced me. I admit that I like that cheesiness and the atmosphere and everything. The piano music feels so random and misplaced. It's just charming. Natalie Portman in the movie is a famous actress called Elizabeth, and she goes to Julianne Moore's house called Grace in the movie. She's going to portray her life because apparently there is a juicy story behind and there's going to be a movie about it. So Elizabeth needs to know everything about her life so she can do a good performance. And Gracie in the meantime is being avoidant and rude, not only to her, also body shaming her own daughter. It's a fucking bitch. So I guess the point of the movie, I guessed that it was to dislike her. So good job, that was fantastic. Well, anyways, Natalie Portman, Elizabeth, whatever, is there to learn and absorb everything about Grace so she can be here in the movie. And why? They don't tell. They take the time, easy and slow, and we assume that there's going to be a huge scandal that shocked the world. We know that the woman has been married to her current husband, a man that is way younger than her, for many years, and they have several children. In fact, some of them are going to graduate at the time of the events. She cheated on her previous husband and has been with her actual one for 24 years. Everyone around seems to show sympathy for the woman, so what the hell did she do? Natalie gets more and more into acting method learning, gets the mannerisms, trying to get every nuance about Julianne, Grace, I'm calling them by the actress for real, and and she absorbs the character, the essence, Turns out that her life in the present is not perfect by any means, but nobody says that out loud. The movie's playing with that and beating the narrative, letting the audience just get it. But by the time that we get to see and say, oh, what a fucking piece of shit, the movie ends quite abruptly. And it feels incomplete. It feels pity. It was promising at some point, but the development and the big meh just... When the scandal is revealed, I had a weird feeling because I didn't know if they mentioned that in the movie before, if I missed it, if it was poor writing. I don't know. I'm still confused. Maybe I missed something. It was not really an engaging movie. It would have been way better if they kept that TV film vibe, with cheap intentions, instead of trying to play like, oh, smart movie writing, oh, blah, 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 because they got stuck halfway there and it feels so incomplete. As I was saying, the movie was produced by Natalie Portman herself. And that may be one of the problems, because I see that lately. Movies that are produced by actors or actresses, and it seems like they need some external input to judge some things. Okay, they are inside, they don't get to see exactly what is going on, and sometimes turns out to be a halfway made product. That's why external producers are necessary. Okay, oh well. Next movie, La Abadesa. Spanish movie. I don't know the title in English. Sorry. I leave the poster here. I don't usually see Spanish movies. I like some outdated ones from the 60s, the 70s, but it's a very niche one, and Spanish movies that feel recent, that means the previous 14 years, I do not watch. But the medieval aesthetic, the grittiness, and all of that, I don't know. We do that well. Is maybe it's in our DNA. Nobody respects the Spanish Inquisition. It is inspired by the story of Emma of Barcelona, which I didn't know before the movie, being honest. It's a long, slow movie, and honestly, nothing much happens, but I like it. It's the whole atmosphere. It's dark, it's a bit oppressive, but just the right amount, and it's realistic and human as fuck. A young lady, daughter of a count that has been isolated her whole life and gets the title of abbess with a mission to repopulate the area where she's destined to bring Christian faith and convert the Saracens. Her brother, on the other hand, is a soldier on a mission on that area as well, so they are kind of close. The abbey is filled with women that are not there because they felt the call of God or religious purposes. They are more like in a prison for various reasons. The new abbess arrives and disturbs their peace completely with her young nativity and her faith, dedicated faith, and her passion for her goals. The young woman starts to see the world as it is for the first time in her life and finds new emotions and feelings that clash with everything that she has been devoted to. On her journey, she needs to find a way for her mission, and therefore she needs to earn the respects for everyone around so they take her seriously. I liked it. It's a good movie. Very long, as I was saying, quite calmed. But I was knitting chainmail in the meantime, which I find quite appropriate. And yeah, it doesn't have much action. It doesn't have much dialogue, so if the language is going to suppose a barrier for you, don't be afraid. And I recommend it very much because of the gritty, dark, medieval ambientation. I liked it very much. Raging Grace. I tried to watch it. I quit. I guess I started watching it because the title could be the name of a random speed metal band, let's be honest. It started with what it seems to be a social drama, and then it turned quickly into some horror movie that I didn't find any interest in, so moving on. GTMM2, or whatever it is. Another one that I quit. I was quickly clicking everywhere randomly, and I found this Vietnamese movie. It was a chosen one, but yeah, I didn't finish it. Stella! Stella Ein Leiben. Another one that I quit. A Jewish girl on the you-know-what era of Germany with dreams to be a jazz singer and go to America. Not a great movie. Legends of the Fall. I thought I didn't see this movie before, maybe I have, and I did not remember because I was too young. I don't know. However, if I did see it, I'm sure that I was not paying attention because what a movie. Historically inspired movie with Brad Pitt, Anthony Hopkins, and many other great actors and actresses. But yeah, every other name is going to be overshadowed by those two because they have a magical chemistry. They work very well on screen together, and it's a pleasure to always see them on a movie together. Yeah. It was 1994, and Brad was also doing an interview with a vampire and really squeezing the power of his long mane. Good for you, Brad. He steals the show with a very deep and complex performance. His character, Tristan, is a rebel, is a savage, is a hurt man with a lot of trauma, tormented by a torrent of emotions and feelings that he cannot process, and that lets him to lose himself and make it very hard for those around him that cannot recognize anymore the man that he used to be. The story of three siblings that live together with his father on a ranch, William Ludwig, and the three of them have, of course, very different personality. The younger one, Samuel, goes to the city for a while and finds a woman. They fall in love, they have plans to marry, and they move back to the ranch. As soon as they arrive to the ranch, it is obvious that the other two siblings have a crush on her. This is not a love triangle, this is a love square, and they are brothers, so that's even worse. While that is one of the main topics of the movie and is a well-told story, the historical ambientation and subplots are very rich. There are tragedies everywhere. The life keeps twisting all the time, and nobody gets to be happy. Spoiler alert. And yeah, it brings an era when they knew how to do good movies, and they truly put an effort on that storytelling, and I truly miss that. Amazing production, atmosphere. The main stories are great. The subplots are flawless. Fantastic performances, and the music is amazing. Very much recommended. I've been watching some goddamn long movies over 2 hours here. I used to be funny. Mediocre movie, can't say anything else. Moving on. Firebrand, about the Tudors, so I was interested. Specifically about Catherine of Parma as the main character, which is unusual. It was very promising with a gorgeous imagery. It was amazing. And then the actual script started and I stopped watching it. Hachiko 2. At this point, if you didn't notice, I was picking the movies quite randomly. A Chinese movie. And why is it called Hachiko 2? Is there a second part? Is this a real second part? I don't know why or how does this works, but I found several Chinese movies called blah 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 2, and there seems to not be a part 1. Can someone explain that? I don't know. I don't know. But I assume that it was based on the real story of this cute doggo. So, party of tears and feelings. I was ready. If you're not familiar with the story, don't worry, I will tell, but later. The puppy is adorable, except when they are using CGI, which is cheap. It's a bad movie. It's a fucking bad movie, but I wasted 2 hours of my life just because I wanted to see the dog on screen. Hachiko, A Dog's Tale. Well, since I didn't see before the Richard Gere movie, it was about time. So I went for that after the other Hachiko 2. All them. Comparisons are something. It's a good movie. It's a feast of tears. And come on, if you know the real story behind, you know that it's going to be rivers. That's why you're watching it. Beautiful story, beautiful movie. However, they managed to do a hour-and-a-half movie of a story that could be told in 40 or less minutes. If it wasn't because the dog was adorable, the critiques would be different. But cute. In all honesty, they tried to stretch it way too much. The script is based on a real story and doesn't have too much. It's the story of a man that finds a dog and nobody knows where the dog comes from. They create a lovely bond, and the dog waits for the man every day when he's coming from his job. The man dies, and the dog keeps going to wait for the man for over a decade, every day, waiting for his friend to show up until the day he dies, the dog. Yeah, this is a real story. It's a Japanese story. There's not much to tell. So, yeah, they made a full movie out of it. It's tender and tearful as fuck, I warn you, but they could have cut a third part of the movie and it will be fine. The Firefly Graveyard. Since the theater party was on, I decided to watch this movie finally. I've heard for years about this movie and how sad and devastating it was. So they were saying, I will break your heart. And I thought, challenge accepted, why not? Maybe it's because I heard so much to talk about it that I was disappointed. It's a Ghibli studio movie, and I'm a huge Totoro fan, but that's about it. I don't really enjoy the other movies of Studio Ghibli. I must say here, confess, and earn your hate. Yeah, I don't really enjoy the Moving Castle or none of the movies except Totoro. Totoro is a fucking masterpiece. My Neighbor Totoro. Sorry, Totoro is the Spanish title. And this movie, I don't know what I was expecting. I knew that it was very sad, and that's about it. And I found it quite infuriating with the plot. I did not connect with them. It is a well-made movie. That is fucking Studio Ghibli. But I did not connect with the characters, and it didn't move the feelings in the way that I was expecting. Instead, it was frustration and like, are you fucking kidding me? Unpopular opinion. Wonka. Wonka. I wanted to see this movie when it was released in cinema, but I didn't have the opportunity. I love the twisted universe of Roald Dahl. He's fucking full of childhood and adult trauma. The movie, the first song already tells you something. It's a type of production, the modern production, that does not trust in the talent of real people. The main actor is an excellent singer. The whole cast is. And they overdo every effect possible to make his voice go pale. It's a fucking pity. Same with the CGI, killing the human factor when they could have gone with something more, I don't know, connection. It's an entertaining movie though. The movie was nice, but they should have given it in a other title that was not Wonka. It would made more sense. Using the Wonka label just to attract some audience, it seems a bit more harmful because the main man is not really Wonka. He's cute, he's naive. He doesn't have the narcissistic personality traits. The real Wonka is a fucking asshole, he's a psychopath, he's a narcissistic piece of shit. I'm not going to make a diagnosis here, but yeah, it's quite different. On this movie, no, it's so healthy-minded that it's a shock. The chocolate, it could be any other invention of that man and it will work perfectly with the plot. But they went with naming it Wonka. The Night Clerk, I liked it. The plot was okay, but entertaining. The main character was autistic, and while it was still very stereotypical because it's not a documentary, it's the best representation of Asperger's that I've seen in media. There's been many moments when I was thinking, this is fully unmasked delivery. And they call it by its name instead of trying to hide it, play ambiguous, or the autistic code thing that they're saying. Maybe I should do a list of movies with autistic characters. We'll see. It's a mystery movie, and the plot is quite easy to follow in a way that is not that much of a mystery. It's narrated in a way that is very enjoyable, even if we know already what is going to happen all the time. Adidas, I don't know how to pronounce the brands. Adidas versus Puma. I didn't finish the movie. Bad movie, not the worst. I clicked because the title seemed fucking stupid. I'm not going to lie. I thought it would be some sort of documentary about the brands because the title is fucking ridiculous. But no, it's a movie. It's a German movie about the two German siblings that were behind the brands and their food, whatever. And wow, the performances are cringy. It screams low budget, but in a bad way, in a mediocre way, not in a charming way. And that's it. I quit halfway through. I knew what was it gonna do. I mean, yeah. I watched the TV Glow. I watched the movie thinking that I was watching a movie called Crazy Women because it was mislabeled. I don't know what the fuck I was watching until now. When I finished the movie, I had to go to Google to see if I could throw some light. Apparently, I missed all the cues and everything. I didn't like the movie. It was didn't like it. Wildcat, didn't get it. Every character was annoying in the wrong way. Later, I found out that it was supposed to be the life of some author that I'm not familiar with. So maybe that's what I'm missing. I'm not familiar with her. But the experience of watching this movie, for me, personal opinion, was so irritating that I ended up quitting near the end. Near the end, actually, past halfway through. Do you remember what I was saying about actors being involved in production? Well, this is a case. This is a project that is daughter, father, here they are their names, famous people, that were in charge of the project, and they would have been, they could benefit from having an external opinion and saying, hey, this is not the right way. No. Wicked Little Letters. Another one that I enjoyed quite a lot, actually, is a small village in what it seems to be Victorian era, so you get me there. But it's not, it's the 20s, still with that tight-ass morals, rigid ethics, and all of that. A woman receives a letter that is not that polite, it's rude, and it's dirty, and it even uses curse words. What a scandal! Edith is the target of the letters, a sweet woman that never got married, lives with her parents, is an example for the community, everyone seems to love and respect, and obviously the whole village is outraged by the disrespectful letters that she's getting. The main suspect lives next door, is the new neighbor that lives with her boyfriend out of marriage, and stands out for being quite blunt, badly spoken, and quite energetic. The movie is very campy, it feels super absurd, but the biggest plot twist for me is that it's actually based on real events. This happened! It's quite enjoyable, I recommend this movie. Fancy Dance. I liked it a lot, actually. It was totally unexpected, but a very good movie. The story felt very real and crude. The performances were very natural, and honestly, it felt like I was watching a real-life situation through the whole movie. The movie tells the story of an indigenous woman named Jax who lives in a reservation with her niece, Rocky, and her mother, who is missing, the mother of the kid. Nobody's doing anything to find her, so Jax takes matters into her own hands, and she needs to take care of her niece as well at the same time. So she's acting like a second mother while on a mission to try to find her sister. The movie blurs all the lines of moral ethics, good, bad, in a very realistic and human way, and it's a movie that is not afraid to show the ugly part of life, normalizing it. I truly recommend this one. The Inheritance, 2020, because apparently there's another one, or several, with the same title. Lily Collins, I don't like her. That's my verdict after this movie. I have only seen this one, but I don't like her. She's flat on her performance. But in this movie, it's quite cool to see Simon Pegg on a role that is not what we are used to. He does a good job. The movie started out quite well, honestly. It was going fairly well. It was intriguing, growing, defying ethics and morals in a very philosophical way, let's say. It was interesting overall, and then cheap plot twist appears to ruin everything. We have a filthy rich family, filthy rich. The son is trying out on politics, and he's on campaign to become a president or something like that. The daughter is a very successful lawyer that, despite being filthy rich, she has a strong sense of justice and goes all in to do the right thing, even if she is fighting her own kind. Filthy rich people. The father dies. It's at the beginning of the movie. The father dies while driving, and we get to see that it's not a normal death, but they don't know, because that's what we are seeing from the viewer perspective. But they don't know how he's dying. They think that it was driving, and that's it. The inheritance moment leaves the son with a huge fortune, and the daughter is like, here, some pennies. So they are like, ooh, that's not fair, that's not cool. What a fucking asshole, your dad. They try to share it because, they are a family that they are very tied together, except the father and the daughter, and they want to share with her. She refuses. She doesn't need her father's money. Turns out that there was another inheritance for her, but it's secret, and it's a post-death message with some mission to discover a very dark, twisted, and awful secret that he had. The secret is so horrible that turns all her morals upside down, and as we were saying, she has this strong feeling of doing the right thing. She can keep it as it is and still be horrible, or change things and let it affect her family. So there's a great premise for the movie. It was doing very well. If we ignore the insane amount of plot holes, it could have been a great movie. She was supposed to be written as a very smart person, talented and experienced lawyer, and instead we get a dumbass that has the right amount of noodles to not poop herself while she's talking. But okay, we can ignore that through the movie. But the plot twist is so bad. So poor, so badly written, so insanely cheap. It just ruins the fucking movie, and it happens quite early. So it's a good chunk of the movie left, and it's so fucking bad! Disappointed! So yeah, I watched all these movies in the span of some days, and now I'm back to not having time or energy to watch as many. So if I do a video like this in the future, it's probably to be a compilation of movies that I have seen during a longer period of time. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed and you found some movies to watch or to avoid. Okay, bye!